of yesteryear. Now, the 15th of Tebet is going to mark the Hilula of famous Moroccan rabbi who became a rabbi in Jaffa. His name was Rabbi Hananya Deri, great rabbi of his time. He was born in English year 1931. He passed away in the year 2003. He came from a good family. His father's name was Rabbi Yaish, I believe, who was also a very famous rabbi of that point in time, and he was actually from Morocco, I believe from Marrakesh, a place we've spoken about on various occasions over here inside this series. Hopefully everyone will be able to explore and learn and educate with regards to that. Okay, so he was born, his father was Rabbi Yaish, and I think his mother's name was Rabbanit Chana. So this was from the famous, let's say, Deri family in of itself, and in Morocco this was, and he would learn, I think there's a story we're going to say over within regards to him of what actually happened to him when he was young, because he would fall ill at one stage in time. I'll state it here in Hebrew and try and transliterate it in English. I think he had a horse accident while he was riding. His mother would take him in his hands, but he took the Beit Borot to the place of the cemeteries, maybe Kivrei Tzadikim. She would place him on the kever, the burial spot of Rabbi Hananya Deri, and really prayed for him to make a refuah shlema, to feel better. Al kivro shel tzadik taba'am bana shebachastei Hashem kshiavri yilmad Torah kol yamav. He would actually make a recovery and become a great rabbi, and we'll be learning Torah much the whole time. You can see there's many books over that tell over the great stories with regards to people that became famous rabbis and how they had salvation at one stage in time, or were saved in various different forms, miraculously, especially praying at the Kivrei Tzadikim. There's a countless of stories with regards to that, which I very much recommend to everyone to actually look into. Okay, so that was reported over. So so he would go on to really go on. Very interesting enough. So just transliterating everything over here. We spoke about, I think, Rabbi Hananya before on various occasions here inside this series. And if you look at our stories of the Tzadikim section, you will actually be able to get an entire synopsis with regards to great rabbis that were yesteryear. So which is I would recommend everyone to actually look into. Okay, so let's continue here. הודיעה שנתקבלה בקשותיה. Rabbi Hananya Deri, he והקדיש עצמו ללמוד תורה. He would go on to make a refuah shlema, to feel a lot better, and study Torah throughout. הוא למד תורה בישיבת חכם אברהם הפיטפול במרקש. Now, we've spoken about him on various occasions before. Rabbi Abraham Abitbol, he was a very great rabbi in his time. Remember, Morocco had many options with regards to Torah learning, Torah places, academies. So now, who was Rabbi Abraham Abitbol? He was actually from Marrakesh. He was born there. Also, actually came from great auspices himself. Rav Shlomo Abitbol happened to have been his son, if I'm not mistaken. Very interesting. I think he might have been the son himself of Rabbi Yosef Abitbol. He learned Torah of Abraham Abitbol in Marrakesh under the auspices of Rabbi Abraham Zuri, and a great rabbi of his time, Rabbi Elazar Halevi, and Rabbi Shlomo HaKohen. So really an all-star lineup of great rabbis in itself. And absolutely astounding. I think he was close to other rabbis also. He was learning the Beit Knesset of Rabbi Tzalach al-Azma, if I'm not mistaken, inside the city, also with Rabbi Yaakov Dahan, another great rabbi we mentioned about and recorded a video about on various occasions here in this and really studied the Pilpul. He was a master. He was known as a very sharp learner, if I'm not mistaken, and would form various different yeshivot. Rabbi Abraham Abitbol would, and would be in connection basically with some of the great rabbis of Morocco at this time, including the famous Rabbi Raphael and Kava, who we've spoken about also on various occasions before, and many of the great rabbis all throughout Morocco, including in Rabat, for example. And I think also Rabbi Shaul ibn Danan, another great rabbi who was a Dayan and a head of Jewish court and a chief rabbi of Morocco, if I'm not mistaken, and was actually awarded and crowned as the Yakir Yerushalayim. And Rabbi Avraham Abitbol himself passed away, I believe, in the year 1945 in Marrakesh. But it was really, he had an all-star, let's just say, amount of great Talmidim, including, we're talking about Rabbi Hananya Deri today, who would go on to become the chief rabbi of Jaffa. Among his other students included Rabbi David Bozgalo, another great rabbi, who I think we've spoken about here on various occasions before. He was an educator, if I'm not mistaken, and a Payatan. Also, Rabbi Gad Navon, who would go on to become a chief IDF rabbi at one stage in time. Rabbi Yechia Chaputa, if I'm not mistaken, another rabbi we recorded a video about. Rabbi Shalom Elbaz, and Rabbi Shimon Baruch Ochayon, which I actually think happens to be his Hilul this week, if I'm not mistaken. He was a famous rabbi and Rosh Yeshiva of Keta HaTorah in Casablanca, and will also become a rabbi in Jaffa at a later stage in time. So you can see really the caliber and the greatness within regards to Rabbi Abraham Abitbol over here, just inside this, just by reviewing his life also, and absolutely phenomenal. So it's always great to experience and to speak about some great rabbis. Okay, so let's get back now over here to Rabbi Hananya Deri. So he would be learning under Rabbi Abraham Abitbol, and also Rabbi Pinchas HaKohen, and also Rabbi Chaim Biton, who was the author of the Lev Chaim, and I think Leyamim Rafa'id Malay, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it's actually interesting. I do think we actually did record a video about him at the same time, also inside this series. So that's something that we have to point out. Also, this is very, very interesting. Chaim Biton was a great rabbi, and much more can be said about it. Okay, so let's continue over here. As we actually happens to be another Chaim Biton here in current day, who I think is a politician, so not to get confused. Okay, so I think come with the year 1947, Yatzat Mishpachto Eretz Israel, he would actually make Aliyah and move to Eretz Israel. And come on 1948, he would reach the land of Israel. Remember, this was the year of independence. And he would go on to live in Jaffa, to settle there. And he would be ordained as a rabbi through the secretary of the, let's say, the head of Tel Aviv at that point in time, Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Toledano, a really, really great rabbi of Islam. Another rabbi we've spoken about here inside this series on various occasions. And once again, I strongly recommend everyone to watch over the previous videos. Who was Rabbi Yaakov Moshe Toledano? We did speak about him in depth. We actually recorded a video. He lived between 1880 to 1960. He actually would be grown up in Tiberias, one of the four holy cities of Israel, under through his father, Rabbi Yehuda Toledano, who I think very, very much so, he was a man of the congregation. He was part of the Mizrahi group, if I'm not mistaken, and I think he'd have correspondence and closeness with various politicians and important Zionistic figures, if I'm not mistaken. It would be part of the Chaver Harabbanut Rishit in Tangier, if I'm not mistaken, between 1926 to 1928. He would form a Beit Din over there, if I'm not mistaken, and a Beit Midrash, the Rabbanim Torah B'Chaim. So he was really doing grandiose works. I think he'd become the head of the Jewish court and a deputy to the chief rabbi of Cairo, if I'm not mistaken. So and he'd be working in a rabbinic capacity in Alexandria. Eventually he'll end up in Tel Aviv, Jaffa, and have various grandiose, let's say, positions in of itself. I think, he would be connected to various politicians also, as we mentioned about before, and have important roles. And so on and so forth. So he would take on, and we did record a video within regards about him, and I would very much recommend everyone to look back on the things. I think he was a Sarah that taught the third one, if I'm not mistaken, between 1958 to 1960, and also he was a chief rabbi of Harabba Rashi, the chief rabbi of Tel Aviv, between 1942 to 1958, between the time period of Rabbi Ben Zion Meir Chai Uziel and Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, very prominent position and a very important rabbi of his time. He was eventually buried in Har HaMenachot cemetery, so much more can be said. He actually was the author of various and great books, including the Yadei Moshe, the Sefer Yam HaGadol, Kuntras Mishib Nefesh, Sarid Palit Bat Ami, Otzag Nazim, Ephrayon, if I'm not mistaken, which is bibliography, I think, on Rashi, and that was many of the books were printed in various places and won awards. But okay, so that was the caliber of the rabbi once again, Rabbi Hananya Deri was learning under and was close to at that point in time. Okay, okay, so he would very much be part of this Moatzot Datit over there. We have to point out, Shimesh Rabbi Knesset. He was a synagogue rabbi. And he would give out various different grandiose Torah classes inside the synagogue. Who request the pilot Amoadon Hatzorani Lenoach Liad Bet Knesset Kodshe Rupa. Found me second over there. Velimad Mossad Percheko Hona Mitzudot Shel Rishon Lezion Chacham Benzion Chai Rabbi Benzion Meir Chai Uzia. So he was actually very much involved with these different institutions, which was founded by the former chief rabbi of Israel. He really worked within regards to the Sephardic community as a general within regards to, and we've spoken on various occasions before about Rabbi Benzion Meir Chai Uzia, who was a chief rabbi of Islam, I think, for several years. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was between 1948 to 1954, but had various decorated positions also, we have to point out. And much more can be said with regards to him. And he would really work with regards to spreading Torah among the Sephardic Jewish community over there, and really mitzchazek and strengthen people in of itself. Now, friends, over here, I'm just going to take a short 1 minute break, so please watch this space, and we're going to speak about the time period of 1967 and after the 6-Day War, and more information with regards to his history. So just watch this space. We're taking a half-minute break, and everyone, welcome if you've tuned in, and just wait a minute. Hi, Shalom everyone. Thanks for being patient and waiting over here as we're exploring history within regards to a great rabbi. I'm just going to put my jacket on at the moment because actually it happens to be very cold over here in Israel where I'm recording from. So everyone, if you're tuning in live and your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join our community. Wishing you all Shavuot Tov. We're speaking about great Rabbi Hananya Deri, who was very famous rabbi from Morocco, from Marrakesh at his time, who go on to come to Eretz Israel. Let's explore a bit more with regards to him. Let's talk about 1967. Okay, so B'Shna Tafshin Chav Zayin, I think in 1967, after the 6-Day War, it was. I'm actually reading this from the Khanania, from the Haimi website at the moment. Rabbi Hananya Deri yatsa למחנות הפליטים על אזור שכם ובעזה כדי לתור אחר נשים יהודיות שנסעו לערבים והתנתקו ממשפחתם בזמן מלחמת העצמאות. הוא פעל לחילוצין ולחזרתן ליהדות של אותן נשים יהודיות וילדיהן במסירות נפש ובהתנדבות דאג לכל מחסורן ורתם נדיבים וארגונים להשתתף במצווה זו של קיבוץ נדחים ובדיון שבויים. He would actually return people, I think, at that point in time, that after 1967 he would go to refugee camps in Nablus, Gaza areas, search for women who might have got married out, maybe to Arab, maybe people who were separated from families during the War of Independence. He rescued many of them because there was a lot of troubles at that point in time, and Jewish women and the children, and really did huge amounts of volunteerism. He would take care of their needs, encourage benefactors and organizations to help in the mitzvah, and really do huge amounts within regards to that. Now, he would go on to serve as a rabbi in Jaffa. This was shortly afterwards. I think it was, I think build the Beit Knesset there, synagogue, and 1974, I'll say it here in Hebrew, Tafshin Lamed Daled, עודד את חכם ישראל לרווח לפתוח כולל ביפו. Very, very interesting. עד יוצא שמו כגאון בתורה, בנגלה ובנסתר. And so at that point in time, he was really going to try to make a big effort within regards to changing Jaffa and those different places in of itself, I think. And he would actually, his name and fame is going to actually come out all throughout the various different places. Now, I think it was close to Rabbi Revach at that point in time. He's another rabbi who we've spoken about here on this series on various occasions before. I think we actually recorded a video about him not so long ago, if I recollect. He was a great rabbi and obviously had a strong connection to him, if I'm not mistaken. And we did record a video. I think it was maybe about 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. But that I'll definitely have to double check within regards to that also, friends. Okay, so let's continue over here. So there with At Yatsa Shemo Kagon B'Torah. He was known as a genius within regards and Gadol within regards to Rabbi Gila Nisa. Then come with the year Tafshin Mem Chet in 1988. Hotzi Leor Et Sifro Chede Malchot. His book called the Chede Malchot, the rooms of kingship, will come out. וכולל בו את חיבורו של המקובל, חכם דוד הלוי, מאיר דרה. It's a book of Rabbi David Halevi would actually come out also. בשל המקובל החכם יצחק דרעי, מחוכמי Algeria. So actually, I think it will have a connection with Rabbi Yitzchak Deri also at that point in time. I'm not too sure how they were related, had the same family name, we have to point out over here, and which is very, very interesting. And yeah, much more can be said with regards to that. Okay. He came from Algeria itself, Rabbi Yitzchak Halevi, if I'm not mistaken. Come with year 1995, this was about 8 years before he passed away. Now, another book of his, Chede Bruyot, would actually come out. This came out with various different drashot, sermons, and hespedim, בצירוף לקטע דינים, סגולות וכימיות. כן, הוציא לאור את הספרים, חדה מחמונים והדה מחמונים, respectively. I think one is with a chet, the other one is with a hey. And I think he passed away on the 15th of Tevet in 2003. We're talking about nearly 23 years ago from the time of his passing over here. הוציאו משפחתו לאור את ויסבדו בשם גדול. The family itself would bring out a book called that HaKolel Divrei HaHesped Ketzrim Al Abihem. Various different hespeds within regards to the sad passing of his father, of their father. And point out. Anyone, first of all, tuning in live at the moment, welcome to our community, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as we've got fantastic, important content very much featured over here about great rabbis of yesteryear, and happens to be a special edition over here as we are speaking about a great rabbi that actually came from Marrakesh in Marrakesh, which was a great Torah community, let's just say, in the south, in Morocco, a place we've spoken about here on this series various occasions for. And if you're new here, welcome, and educate and learn, as we've got fantastic content, important content for all you brilliant people there on the daily Talmud in of itself. Now let's explore a few of the highlights from Kid, because we can see, as we've noted and stated over here in today's class, he really did publish a lot of works, and the family also did print works also, so important teachings will obviously be derived from over here. Now, one of the teachings he says over מלמד קשה מחלוקת או פרט במנהיגי בית כנסת של כמה עדות, one of the things over there, and that she's featured, I think, in the Ruach, if I'm not mistaken, in Amud, I think page number 60, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, that was printed in the year 1995. This publication was 8 years before he happened to pass away. Now, another teaching of his, מלמד אלא שמיתו בחוץ לארץ יחייב וביו כמו שרבנו בראשם. This actually is taught over here, once again inside the same book. I'm not sure the exact page over there. Chadav Ruach, and another very important, let's just say, teaching. This very much encapsulates in of itself. Now, another teaching, מלמד מעלת הארון שדן דין אמת ועל בסיס האמת רדף שלום. The importance of how important is that emet itself and truth is like the main component, let's just say, in life, and that really brings a fountain and importance in all various different aspects of let's just say, of all various undertakings in on a daily let's just say sphere in of itself. So that's very interesting and very important also to point out. Let's explore a couple more teachings of his. מלמד סגולה לצרף את תפילתו לבכי התינוק לאחר המילה. So talking about the Brit Milah, the circumcision in of itself. I think this actually is featured from page 111, this teaching. And one last teaching of it, מלמד שדמעות הן העיקר על מיתת הצדיקים, in regards to crying and the sad passing of great rabbis. Once again, I think this actually comes from page number 43 of this very important book over here, of something that we have to say about. So that's very interesting, and much more can be said within regards to him. You can see what a great rabbi he actually happened to be, how busy he was all throughout his life. And we've spoken about many rabbis that actually hailed from Marrakesh of previous year. It's not the first rabbi we've spoken about from the Deri family. That's another thing that we have to point out about this special edition. We did mention other rabbis. I'm not sure how he was connected or related to them, but most likely there probably was a connection. But he was connected to many great rabbis of his time, and it's definitely a rabbi we've spoken about here on various occasions. And it'll be interesting to just see some more publications of his Cheder B'Ruach. I think it was a Torah colossal work, for example, over there. I think it's still available. You could definitely say, I think it's still available for purchase in various places. This important Torah work. Remember, we've spoken about many of the great books, and we've spoken about some publishing houses also here inside this series, which I very much recommend also everyone to check this out in inside the books in of itself. So very important. So I think you can still find these books from other places also. That's interesting. By the way, friends, I'm taking a lot of these notes from the famous Hayomi website, which has a lot of information on famous rabbis of yesteryear, which I would very much recommend everyone to check out over here. So that's very interesting. Okay, we will also have to point out that I want to go through a list of the great rabbis that were from Marrakesh. I think it's actually important just to get an entire breadth of what kind of caliber there was inside those facilities. I think we spoke already inside this series, more at least 250 or 200 to 250 rabbis that actually came from Marrakesh, who were great rabbis from there. So that was like, let's say, one of the key places in Eretz Israel within regards to rabbinic flourishing, without a doubt. So and so much more can be, said in regards to that. So very, very interesting. I think among, for example, rabbis over there, I want to actually say over a few of the rabbis there. If we can get a list, I'm pretty sure there was a list. They had beautiful synagogues there. We have to point out also inside the city. So that's something important. And there was a chief rabbi always in Morocco. There happened to be at various windows of time, which is also important to talk about. We spoke about Rabbi Shlomo Amar, who he happens to have been a great rabbi also from Marrakesh, if I'm not mistaken. And there was various other great rabbis over there inside those vicinities. There's I think an entire list, if I'm not mistaken, of especially if you go on Wikipedia, you will see a list of who were the rabbis in all the different places over there, and it's actually very, very illustrative, and this is really encapsulates the different things. The Knesset there was famous rabbis like the Pinto family, I think actually came from Marrakesh. We have to point out also, like, so for example, Rabbi Yosef Pinto, Rabbi Yaakov Pinto. There was a Harush family, the Zaguri family, for example, and various other great rabbis over there. So that's, I think there was actually a chief rabbi of Morocco at various points of time. So that's something else that we have to point out. Let's just explore a few of the chief rabbis of Morocco. I know it's quite late now. For example, Rabbi Yitzchak Deluya was a rabbi in the 17th century. Rabbi Meir Deluya was. This was an entire rabbinic family. Rabbi Elazar Halevi, Rabbi Mordechai Hatzarfati was another great rabbi that came from Marrakesh. Rabbi David Zagori, Rabbi Moshe Zerihan. Remember, he was, I think, the Zerihan family itself were famous rabbis that actually came, if I'm not mistaken, from were big rabbis in Tiberias at various windows of time. That's something that we have to very much point out over here. Also, Rabbi Elazar Chazan, for example, was another happened to be another great rabbi from Marrakesh. That's something that we very much have to point out. There was more great rabbis over there, also friends. It's something that we have to point out. I think also Rabbi Elazar Chazan, Rabbi Shlomo Chazan, Rabbi Yair Chafuta, Rabbi Yitzchak Harush, Rabbi Raphael Yosef Harush, Rabbi Shlomo Ibn Chaim, Rabbi Shlomo Asbag, for example, Rabbi Yaakov Toledano, another rabbi, I think we just mentioned by him, Rabbi Yehoshua Maman, Rabbi Elazar Mor Yosef. This is another great rabbi. I think he was actually an educator from Tangier, if I'm not mistaken, also, and worked in Casablanca. Rabbi Yosef Melul, he was a Rosh Yeshiva at one point in time. Rabbi Yaakov Nachmani, you can see Rabbi David Ovadia, Rabbi Mordechai Atiyah, Rabbi David Attar, for example, Rabbi Shlomo Amar, Rabbi Avram Pinto. The Pinto family itself, I think, came from Marrakesh. Rabbi Chaim Tzabach, Rabbi Yitzchak Kuriot, Harishon, and obviously Sheni, Rabbi Avram Korkos, Rabbi Mordechai Korkos, Rabbi Moshe Roseli, Harishon, Rabbi Zvulun Shoshana. This is another rabbi we spoke about. It was a Darshan, Rosh Yeshiva in Marrakesh, also in Casablanca. Also, Rabbi Shmuel Shoshana, another rabbi we've spoken about here on this series, another great rabbi. And Rabbi David Shlush, who was from Marrakesh, was I think Rosh Yeshiva of the Gdola over there, and was a leading rabbi of his time in central Morocco, also in Marrakesh, and they really, really have many great Talmudim students in itself. But that's something onto itself that we have to point out over here, and very, very interesting. Now, friends, we're a community over here. We learn about the great rabbis that happen to be from yesteryear. If you send from any of the great rabbanim we happen to be speaking about today, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information, and you can see that we're doing a lot of great content here on this channel. We don't just record videos, historic videos of great rabbis of yesteryear. What we're also doing on this channel is very, very special. We are speaking and really dealing with not just great rabbis of yesteryear. We do tours all over Israel, which is very, very exciting. We go to different parts of Israel, different archaeological places. We've gone mostly in Bet Shemesh and in Jerusalem to various different places, and really given over some let's just say very, very exciting, extremely exciting content of the different places over there, and which is a resounding, let's say, feedback with regards to those great works. We also have another exciting project where we record a video every single day with a different great rabbi, where they give us, let's say, a burst of chizuk and Jewish inspiration to really kickstart and to motivate our days in itself. And we've had many great rabbis over here, and really appreciate and cherish all the great work that many people that are contributing to our group is doing. So that's something that we have to point out. We also record videos on current events where we speak about it from a Jewish lens. We speak about the Parashat HaShavua, the weekly Torah portion, which is very important, and the other videos to do with the Jewish month, for example. And once again, our main project over here, which is a new one at the moment, is to explore all the countries of the world, the Jewish communities over there. What was it like? Who were the great rabbis over there? So, and we're actually experiencing and speaking about what was the communities like over there. Did they suffer anti-Semitism some of the places or not? And that's something else that we are really trying to concentrate on this group, and thank God, really succeeding. So many reasons for everyone to subscribe. So please, I encourage everyone, if you're new here and you're joining in, please subscribe to the channel. And once again, if you descend from any of these rabbis we happen to be speaking about here inside this series, I really appreciate it if you let me know more information, and we'll try to let's just say learn more within regards to them, and so on and so forth, because I think it's very important at the moment. Now it is quite late at the moment, so I will have to point that out. So if you are new here, welcome to our community, and watch this space. We're going to have a lot of great content coming out in the week coming over here, as we plan to do more tours all over Israel, to upload various different tours, which is going to definitely be very inspirational. We will speak about more current events, more great rabbis, and various different other countries which really shaped and gave, let's say, an important outlook of an imprint within regards to the Jewish world. So there's a lot of content over here, and yeah, I would definitely recommend everyone, if you go onto the Stories of Tzaddikim section, you will actually be able to see in-depth snapshot of different great rabbis that we've spoken about here over the past few hundred years, really. So we're really been talking about rabbis that maybe came from the previous, even as many as 1,000 years here inside this series, and it is very exciting, and I think very important that we get that entire synopsis and breadth of knowledge in of itself. So over here, so that's something I will definitely point over here. So I think on that note, wishing you all a Shavua Tov U'Mavarach, and be well, everyone, and please don't forget to join our community over here and learn more within regards to the great rabbis of yesteryear. We're coming into a new book at the moment, the book of Shemot, the Sefer Shemot, and we're going to be in Parshat Shemot this week. And very action-packed, and it really doesn't need any introduction, let's just say, into that specific topic in itself. So really appreciate everyone over here, and thanks everyone for tuning in and watching. And if you just to cast your mind back, we recorded a video yesterday within regards to the history of the country of Vietnam. So I recommend everyone please watch over that video we also did, which was also very exciting, as we spoke about different famous army chaplains over there, especially connected to the United States of America, and so on and so forth. That we did have the honor of to record that yesterday, and we're going to record about more countries, Bezrat Hashem, in the coming week also. So I think on that note, wishing you well, Shavua Tov U'Mavarach. Take care. Thanks so much.